Something that said, take a look what happened.
These videos will be making you say, what the glitch? Because why does this bird look so fake? Weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And it's normal.
And that's filled with Mountain Dew.
I mean Mountain Dew. I'm drinking.
My horses are frozen in time. Is this a glitch in the Matrix?
Today's February 18th, 2025. There ain't a lick of mold on this thing. And it's still soft.
If you like spooky stories and you're nosy like me, then you're gonna love this. So I found this app called Spook. It uses AI to make these text message stories that you get to star in. The vibe of the story is totally up to you. So if you just want like a romance or a horror story, or maybe even like a spicy love triangle, you can do that. Basically, you take your name, your friend's name, boyfriend's name, crush's name, and then it will write a full story for you. It literally looks like you're reading somebody's creepy text convo, but it's all made up. You get the drama and the excitement without the actual drama. And every story is different, so you get to read a new one every time you open the app. It is free, but you can subscribe to get more perks if you like.
This episode scared kids growing up. In the early 2000s, Courage the Cowardly Dog released one of the creepiest episodes in cartoon history. The episode was called King Ramses' Curse. It starts when Courage finds a mysterious stone slab buried in the yard. Turns out, it was stolen from the tomb of an ancient pharaoh named Ramses. That night, something shows up outside the house. A horrifying CGI ghost, completely different from the rest of the animation. He just stands there in the dark, repeating one sentence over and over: return the slab or suffer my curse. But Eustace, being the greedy old man he is, refuses to give it back. So Ramses unleashes 3 terrifying plagues. In the end, Courage tries to fix everything. He finally returns the slab, but Eustace grabs it back at the last second. And just like that, he disappears, taken by the curse, forever. The episode ends in silence, and kids were left scarred. Let me know in the comments if you remember this episode, and if it creeped you out.
Hey, excuse me. Nana, are you doing dishes? I hope so.
Get up here, Carly!
The fuck is that? The fuck is that in the woods? Hello? Hello?
Charlotte?
This is your report, and I'm going to... Mom, is that? Please, no!
If you can see this. This is really weird. Domino, what is that? What the hell is that? Hey!
If you look just closely enough, you can make out what appears to be some kind of a dark shadow figure walking behind the car before ultimately disappearing without a trace. In a follow-up video, CJ gives more context, stating that his dog usually likes to go outside, but states that he doesn't usually bark. But there was something off-putting about that night, as we just saw. CJ says that he hasn't seen the strange entity since that night, but says that he's still not sure if it was a person or some kind of a ghostly apparition. Let's just hope that CJ and his beloved dog Domino can go back to living in peace.
Did you see it?
If you look at the image frame at this part of the video, you can see that it moves, after which a black, ghostly shadow emerges. The video ends with the uploader asking out loud, "Did you see it?" before what sounds like another voice quickly responding by saying no. Some people in the comments say that it simply looks like it could have been somebody vacuuming or cleaning, but others are not so convinced, thinking there definitely was some sort of ghostly entity in there. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know all your theories in the comment section down below.
Look. Did you see it?
There's a worm in my Ferrero. What the heck? Ferrero? Guys, I'm kinda traumatized. I don't think I can ever eat a Ferrero again.
What happened to my burgers? Why they look like they need to see a dermatologist? What the fuck?
I don't know what's going on with the food, but this chicken, we just got this from HEB. I don't understand why it looks like that. It's fucking weird. Why? That's right out the package from HEB.
Can someone please explain what the fuck this is? In my backyard? What is this?
This ain't snow. What is this? This is not snow. This is styrofoam. That's not snow. That can't be snow. Look at that. That is styrofoam.
What the fuck? It's a fucking ghost. Look at the ghost.
It's flooded. Look at that. See that big crack right there? That's about to break.
Not that I'm a real snow aficionado, but I've never seen that.
It's crazy. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Are they going to hit each other? Oh, my God.
So I'm not entirely sure what is going on here. So the only real explanation is probably those drones everybody's seeing.
Full shower really fast. I need to take a full shower. Daniel? What's that? Who is it? Get out of here! Get out of here!
Should be out and about. Keys, bro. Hold on, guys. I gotta get out of here.
I've been wanting to try this place for so long. It's
it's a great
so
spot.
good.
Yeah.
At this point, I would run.
I'm sorry. What is that you do?
Oh, I'm an accountant.
No, I mean like the weird voice thing.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm possessed.
Sorry.
Is that a problem? I swear to God, I'm like super normal besides that.
That's fine. Yo. What?
Sorry. What did you?
Are you giving Daddy his tools?
¿Qué show? Andamos aquí en el callejón del aguacate y ya son... ¿A qué hora son, gordo? 3:10. ¿3:10? A huevo. 3:10.
So I don't know if you're going to see what I'm seeing, but this is on repeat. This happens over and over, and then the knocking happens. The knocking, there it is, and it just goes and goes until you tell it to stop. Can you stop, please? I mean, it's just right there. That's new. Okay. Whatever you are, you gotta go. And that's... Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Goodbye.
Look at that face. Right there. See. What?
A group of friends are using an elevator in France when this was captured.
Okay, so it's been doing this for a minute. And there's nothing out there. You need to hit that gem. You wanna figure it out?
Yeah.
Alright, no, that did something,
No. Dude, I don't know.
What is going on?
Are we too heavy? Is there someone there? What?
Yo, so this elevator is acting mad weird. We started a few floors up, and
Yo. Did we stop?
yo, the backup generator's been coming on and off. We've been having the time of our lives. And yeah, we're like cooking alive. Oh. Oh, he's cooking something.
What are you doing?
Yep. Yep.
I gotta pee.
Oh, you gotta pee.
It's making my bladder. I gotta pee.
You gotta pee.
I feel like a rapper. Go. I gotta pee.
Oh, yeah.
I'm holding my bladder.
Yep.
I gotta pee. I don't know what else is going on. I gotta pee. It's making me mad. I'm like so. I gotta pee. I'm like Bowser.
Guys, this is probably the worst thing. We're moving.
I know. Thank you.
Where are we going?
Oh, wait. Stop. No. No.
That's the same one as before.
No.
Can someone tell me why this is happening to my smoothie? Why?
There is a shadow on the sky. Is that even possible? I don't understand it. Fucking hell.
god, that is evil. Wow, look how big that fucker is.
So this is from one day when I was vacuuming my room when I was living in Australia, and I vacuumed behind a cushion that was on my floor and sucked up a funnel web spider.
Oh my god.
Go in your daughter's room. She says, Mommy, you've got a bunch of spiders up there. Little baby's one. I was like, oh, that's not too bad. It's just like maybe 50, 60. But then she says, look at the other corner. There's more. And they're alive. I swear, it's just getting worse and worse. It is disgusting. They're literally everywhere. It's just getting worse.
So, my daughter's sleeping with me in my bed tonight. She kept saying that she was really scared of something in her room. I'm a little bit shaky. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's always terrified me since. Because I would ask it questions and it would answer.
Know that I love to read, right? So the other day I came across this website. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's Readsy Prompts. Basically, they give you a prompt and people make a story out of the prompt given, and some of these people win. I believe they win money as well. Anyways, I read this story and I just need to read it to you. The first time I ate someone's grief, it was an accident. My aunt had just died and my cousin couldn't stop crying at the funeral. She clutched her mother's wedding ring so tight her knuckles grew white. When she hugged me, she pressed the ring into my palm. I can't look at it anymore, she said. Just take it away. I slipped it into my pocket and something strange happened on the drive home. A warm sensation spread through my gut like I'd swallow a shot of good whiskey. By the time I parked in my driveway, I felt freaking amazing, light, almost euphoric. Meanwhile, my cousin called to thank me. She'd finally slept through the night. It's like a weight lifted, she said. I didn't make the connection until 2 weeks later. I was stressed eating a gas station cherry cupcake, the kind that had that nuclear red icing that stains everything it touches. The ring remained in my pocket pocket, and when I pulled it out to look at it, some of the sticky icing smeared across the metal. Without thinking, I licked it clean, and when the ring touched my tongue, it dissolved, melting like cotton candy, while at the same time warmth flooded my system, only stronger this time, much stronger. That's when I understood what had happened. Somehow, I ate her grief. 5 years passed, and I turned it into a business. Not officially, of course, you can't exactly put grief eater on a business card, but word spread among the desperate. The process was simple. Bring me something that connects you to your dead loved one, something that holds your pain. I consume it, and your grief disappears. I charged based on the intensity. 1,000 for a parent, 500 for a sibling, 250 for a grandparent. Pets were a flat 100. The pricing wasn't based on science, but on how much the grief would screw me up afterward. But I didn't tell my clients what happened to their grief afterward. It didn't disappear. It lived inside me. I consumed the emotional trauma of 78 dead loved ones, and each one had left something behind. A whisper, an itch, a memory that wasn't mine. I called them the chorus. Most days I could handle them. They were just background noise, the mental equivalent of a TV left on in the other room. But lately, they've been getting louder, more demanding. The whispers had become conversations. Conversations had escalated to arguments. Please had replaced the arguments. Let us out. Let us see them. We miss them. I ignored them and kept eating. The warmth that followed consuming grief had become addictive, better than any drug I tried, and I tried plenty. The business was just an excuse to keep feeling that rush. Ever since I was a kid, I'd had the same reoccurring nightmare, being trapped inside my body, conscious but not able to move or speak, while something else controlled me from within. I'd wake up screaming, drenched in sweat, grateful to be back in control. As I got older, the nightmares became less frequent, but more intense. The idea of being reduced to a passenger in my flesh terrified me more than death itself. I'd rather cease to exist than exist as a prisoner inside my body. I never connected these nightmares to my new profession, never saw the warning signs until it was too late. On a rainy Tuesday, a woman brought me her brother's baseball cap. He ended himself 3 months ago and she hadn't slept well since. She passed me the cap with trembling hands. Will it hurt? She asked, her finger still gripping the frayed edge. Not to you, I said. When she left, I locked the door and stuffed the cap into my mouth. The fabric dissolved against my tongue, releasing a bitter wave of sorrow that made my eyes water. I chewed faster. The sooner I got it down, the sooner the pain transformed into the familiar warmth. Except this time, something different happened. As the last thread disappeared down my throat, I heard a man's voice clear as day say, "Finally." And then my hands weren't my hands anymore. I tried to move them, but they stayed flat on the desk. I tried to stand, but my legs ignored me. My breathing sped up, but I wasn't the one speeding it up. "You've been so selfish," the voice said, keeping us all in there, not letting us reach them. I tried to respond, but my mouth wouldn't open. Panic crawled up my spine as I realized what was happening. I was still here, still conscious, but I wasn't in control anymore. I was a passenger in my own body. My lifelong nightmare was unfolding in real time. The terror I'd woken up from 100 times was now my waking reality. "It's our turn now," another voice in my head said. A woman's voice, elderly, unfamiliar. "You've kept us quiet long enough." The next few hours were a blur of psychological torture. My body moved without permission. My hands opened drawers, searched through files, and found my client list. My mouth formed words that weren't mine. The chorus was figuring out how to drive. They let me surface just enough to feel the horror of my situation. I screamed, but they pushed me back down into the darkness. The claustrophobia of being caged inside my skull was worse than any physical pain I'd ever experienced, like being buried alive but still able to watch the world through a window. By nightfall, they had a plan. I woke up on my kitchen floor surrounded by shattered glass. The clock said 3:47 a.m. I'd lost 9 hours. My phone showed 17 missed calls from unknown numbers. There was blood under my fingernails and my mouth tasted like copper and salt. When I tried to stand, the world tilted sideways. "What the hell?" I said, but the words felt wrong in my mouth, like my tongue had forgotten how to shape them. "We've been waiting for this," a voice that wasn't mine said. It was coming from inside my head, but it wasn't a thought. It was someone else, someone new, for someone who could hold enough of us. I stumbled to the bathroom and flipped on the light. In the mirror, my face looked wrong. My expressions weren't mine, my eyes focused and unfocused as if someone else was controlling them. "No," I said, "this isn't happening." "Oh, but it is," the voice replied. "You've been so generous, making space for us, and now we're going to return the favor." My hand rose
to my face, but I wasn't the one moving it. I tried to scream, but my lips stayed sealed. My worst nightmare had always been this: losing control, being trapped inside while someone else drove, and now it was happening. This wasn't a metaphor or an exaggeration. This was the literal manifestation of the terror that had haunted my sleep since childhood, come to life in the waking world. "Don't fight it," whispered another voice, a woman this time. "You'll just make it worse." And suddenly, the chorus wasn't background noise anymore. They were front and center, rising like a flood, and I was drowning in them. They took my body out for a test drive, and I remained conscious for every terrible moment of it. I saw everything through my eyes, but I was just a passenger now. They used my voice to talk to each other, arguing over who got control next. "The brother should go first," said my mouth in a voice that wasn't mine. "He's the newest. He hasn't seen his sister yet." My head nodded without my permission. 15 minutes each, said another voice using my vocal cords, "until we figure out a better system." They were dividing me up like I was a timeshare property, and there was nothing I can do but watch. The suffocating horror of being reduced to an observer in your own life is impossible to describe to someone who hasn't experienced it. My body drove to the woman's house, the one who brought me her brother's cap yesterday. The chorus knew where she lived because her brother knew. They rang the doorbell. When she answered, her face transformed from confused to terror. "Tommy?" she said. "Hey sis." My mouth moved in her brother's voice. "I'm back." She backed away, shaking her head. "No, you're that person, the one who took the cat." "But what are you doing?" "It's complicated," my mouth said. "But I needed to see you, to tell you. It wasn't your fault. They were using me like a puppet and I couldn't even scream. Every childhood fear of possession, every adult anxiety, it was all playing out in high definition. This wasn't just a nightmare. It was the nightmare that defined me." The woman was crying now. "This isn't funny. You need to leave. Remember that summer at Lake Michigan when I pushed you off the dock and you lost your sunglasses? I said a fish took them." Her face went pale. "Nobody knew about that." "I did. I do." My hand reached out to touch her face. "I need you to do something for me now." "What?" she whispered. "I need you to give him something else, something with more grief in it. My journal, it's under the mattress." "No," I screamed inside my head. "Don't listen to him." But of course she couldn't hear me. Nobody could. I sat trapped in the passenger seat of my body, watching as they used me to collect more grief, more memories, more souls to add to the chorus. Over the next 3 days, they visited 7 of my clients. Each time the newest member of the chorus took control to convince their loved ones to hand over more grief-soaked items. Some were suspicious, but most were so desperate to believe they were communicating with their dead that they did whatever they asked. The pattern remained the same. My body would show up unannounced. My voice would say things only the dead person could know. My hands would take whatever they offered: journals, photographs, wedding rings, even clothing. And then my mouth would consume them. With each new object I consumed against my will, the chorus grew stronger. I felt myself shrinking, compressed into a smaller and smaller corner of my mind. The nightmare was consuming me, becoming more real with each passing hour. By the 4th day, I only got control for minutes at a time, usually when they were sleeping. During these brief windows, I tried everything to fight back. Pain, alcohol, even smashing my head against the wall. Nothing worked. They just laughed and took back control, their voices overlapping in a discord of mockery. The only time they let me surface was when they needed to let me know something, like tonight as my body lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling with eyes that no longer belonged to me. "We're going to the cemetery tomorrow," explained the first voice, my cousin's mother. "We've decided it's time to expand our operation." "What do you mean?" I thought at them. "Fresh grief is the sweetest," said another voice. "We're going to find those in mourning and offer our services directly." "No," I thought, "I won't let you." They laughed. "You don't have a choice anymore. You're just a vessel now." And I realized they were right. I'd been so focused on fighting for control that I hadn't considered the alternative. Maybe I couldn't drive anymore, but I could still crash the car. While they debated their plans, I reached deep inside myself to the place where my own grief lived. Not their grief, mine. The pain I'd been running from my whole life. I found the memory of my father's death, the overdose I discovered when I was 14, my mother's sewer slide 2 years later, the friend who died in my apartment while I was out buying more drugs for us, all the grief I never processed, never acknowledged, never consumed. I pulled it up like poison from a well, and before the chorus realized what I was doing, I turned it on them. Grief is a living thing. It grows, changes, evolves, and when you feed it, it gets stronger. My grief flooded through the mental space the chorus occupied. As the grief-feeding entities touched them, they screamed. Entities unfamiliar with grief themselves. They'd only been the echoes, the impressions left behind, never had been the source. "Stop!" they shrieked as my grief engulfed them. "You wanted grief?" I told them. "Here it is, all you can eat." I forced every painful memory through my consciousness, every loss, every regret, every moment of despair I'd ever experienced. years. I'd spend my life running from these feelings, but now I embraced them. They were my weapons. The chorus splintered under the assault. Some voices faded altogether. Others fragmented into whispers. A few of the strongest pushed back, trying to regain control, but the assault weakened them. For the first time in days, I moved my hand when I wanted to. I dragged myself to the bathroom, teeth clenched against the battle still raging in my mind. In the mirror, my face was gaunt, eyes bloodshot. I looked like I'd aged a decade, but they were my eyes again. At least for now. This isn't over, hissed one of the remaining voices. We'll wait. We'll grow strong again. No, I said out loud, my voice hoarse but my own. You won't. I opened the medicine cabinet and removed a pocket knife, the one my grandfather gave me before he died, the one object I'd never consumed despite its grief potential because it was too precious. I put it in my mouth. Cold metal touched my tongue. I bit down, feeling it dissolve. But this time, instead of swallowing the grief, I focused on my grandfather's love, the pride in his eyes when he gave me the knife. Wonderful memories accompanied the pain. The knife dissolved into a burst of emotion, not just grief, but joy, love, pride, nostalgia. And I realized my mistake all these years. Grief, it's not the pain that destroys you. It's all the love suddenly homeless, pounding on your ribcage, demanding somewhere to exist. And by consuming only the pain, I'd been creating these hungry ghosts, these fragments of people composed of sorrow. I opened my mouth, ready to tell them this revelation, but there was no response. The chorus had gone silent, for now at least. The next morning, I purged my apartment of all the grief objects I collected over the years, not by eating them, I'd never do that again, but by returning them to the families they belonged to. Some people were angry when I showed up at their doors, others were confused. A few even begged me to take their grief back. I couldn't, I wouldn't. Each returned object lifted a weight off of me. With every tearful conversation, every awkward explanation, every apology, the voices in my head grew fainter. Not gone completely. I could still hear them sometimes, especially at night, but more like memories than invaders. I thought of them as the people they once were, but as wounds that needed healing, both theirs and mine. For the first time in months, I slept without the old nightmares. The terrors of being trapped in my own body had lost its power over me, not because it wasn't frightening anymore, but because I'd lived through the real thing and survived. I'd faced my worst fear and come out the other side. I stopped taking clients, moved to a different neighborhood, and changed my phone number, but people still found me, desperate for relief from their pain. Instead of eating their grief, I listened to their stories. Sometimes that was enough, sometimes it wasn't, but it was honest work at least. A week after my liberation, a man brought me his daughter's teddy bear, Cancer. She was 7. Can you take it away? He asked, tears streaming down his face. I can't live with the pain. I sat with him for hours as he talked about her favorite ice cream flavor, the way she insisted on wearing mismatched socks, how brave she was at the end. Before he left, I told him the truth. That grief is just love with nowhere to go. That the pain he felt was the other side of how much he loved her. That healing doesn't mean forgetting. Keep the bear, I said. She loved it, and you love her. Let it hurt for now. Eventually, it'll hurt less, but you'll still have the love. As he walked away, clutching the bear, I felt something shift inside me. A few more voices in the chorus faded, replaced by a peaceful silence. I still don't know exactly what I am or how the strange ability works, but I know what I'm not anymore. I'm not a grief eater. I'm just someone who's learning, finally, to digest my own.
We got the new Black Phone 2 trailer and we need to talk about this because I have questions. So in the first Black Phone, Finney was trapped in the basement by Ethan Hawke's character, the Grabber. But luckily, Finney was able to get away with the help of the Grabber's other victims. But the Grabber met his demise, so my thoughts were Black Phone 2 was going to be maybe like an origin story for the Grabber. But it looks like we're getting something entirely different that I didn't even think of. It looks like the Grabber is back and I am here for it, and I thought, how did they do that? But of course, it's because the Grabber died in the basement, and those that die in the basement come back as some sort of spirit. But this time it looks like the Grabber is going to be terrorizing some sort of youth camp, which these religious symbols just add another layer of intrigue for me. And we see that Finney and Gwen are back, which I'm super excited about, but my big question is, how are they going to kill the Grabber? Because they already killed him in the first one, and if he's come back as a spirit in this one, how are you going to kill something that's not really there? I'm super curious what your guys' theories are on this, so leave them in the comments, but all I know is I'm super excited for Black Phone 2.
pero hágale suavecito. Espere. No. Hágale.
Mas que pode, mano? Abriu o portão, mano.
Sinceramente, eu não tô acreditando nisso, não. Get up here, Carly!
This babysitter starts recording after the little girl he's watching tells him something chilling. She says her doll moves on its own whenever they play hide and seek.
When I play hide and seek with my doll, it moves.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
This doll?
Yeah.
You said it moves?
Yeah.
When does it move?
When I play hide and seek with her.
Naturally, he's skeptical, but curious. So he decides to test it himself and play hide and seek with the doll.
I'm 10.
We're playing hide and seek.
He hides. He waits.
Oh my god.
The doll doesn't move, but he still gets jump scared by his dog. After playing hide and seek, he isn't convinced the doll is haunted, so he decided to put the girl to bed upstairs, and as he comes back down, he finds the dog just sitting next to the doll, staring at it and growling.
Staring at the doll.
Even then, he still shrugs it off, thinking it's nothing. But when he finally lays down on the couch, turns on the TV, and starts drifting off, that's when this happens.
Yo.
Never open the door if somebody knocks in the middle of the night. So I did my hair, did not think I was gonna have to do my earrings hair. I, for the life of me, cannot make the hair stay like this. I guess because it was folded in the packaging, so the hole is their ear. So like, am I their earrings, or like, are they my earrings? I'm so confused right now. So this girl in the story is really young. She's about 13 or 14 years old, and she explains that she never really believed in the paranormal. A ghost staying in a home and haunting it, or like a witch flying in the middle of the night, just seemed unbelievable to her. She does say that whenever she would hear paranormal stories, she would never be like, oh, I don't believe you. She would listen and just don't make a judgment on it. However, she just herself felt like it wasn't real. Of course, that all changed. So she's from Guadalajara, and her grandparents live in Guanajuato. She explains that they live in like a little town, and anytime they want to go on vacation, it's like a 2-hour ride, but they go and visit their grandparents. So this actually recently happened last year, and she said that it was her parents, her brother, and her, and they decided to take like a week vacation to go visit their grandparents in Guanajuato. Once they entered the grandparents' little town, they actually bumped into her uncle. Her parents got out of the car, went to go talk to them, and they were like almost whispering something to each other that she couldn't hear. She says that once her parents get in the car, they look very tense, but they don't say anything to her or her sibling. They end up just driving up and getting to the grandparents' home and going inside. After being inside for a little bit and their grandparents greeting them, she had an opportunity where her and her mom were alone together. She turns to her mom and she's like, hey, I feel like you're hiding something from me. Can you just tell me what happened? You look really weird. The mom looks around and sees that the brother was a little close to them, so she's like, let's go to the room and I'll explain everything to you. The mom explains that for the past few months, the zone where they were at was getting very dangerous, and that that 6 people have been ended, and it was right in front of their grandparents' home. 2 of the 6 people that were ended were children. The mom explains to her that she's not going to allow them to be outside by themselves, and actually the only reason she's telling her what happened is because she's going to need her help maintaining her little sibling and their younger son inside the house, or just keep eyes on him at all times. After having that conversation with her mom, she obviously agreed to take care of her younger brother, and everybody went to the living room and they were all just talking. It was around 1 in the morning. They were still in the living room, and all of a sudden they hear somebody knocking on the front door. Because of the time, everybody just stayed very quiet, looking at each other like, who could this be? Her mom immediately gets up, goes to the room because her sibling was asleep already. She just wants to make sure he's still in there, and he is. When they initially heard the first knock, somebody had knocked 3 times. So the uncle, after a little bit that nobody was moving, gets up and decides that he's gonna go towards the front door. Right before he gets to the door, there's another 3 knocks. So the uncle actually opens the door a little bit, and there's nobody on the other side of the door, so he immediately closes it and locks it again. They all go to bed. The following day, it's nighttime again. They're in the living room talking again, and again at the same time they hear 3 knocks at the front door. The uncle checked again, there's nobody again, and they just decided to call it a night and go to bed. The following night they were all already in their bedrooms going to bed when they all heard knockings on the front door, but this time nobody decided to get up. They all ignored it and they just went to sleep. And again, the same thing happened the next night. This time they were all awake again in the living room just talking, and her uncle came up with a plan. He had a feeling that whoever knocked was gonna knock again if nobody answered the door, so this time he kind of hid himself right next to the door, and he said the second they were about to knock 3 times again, he was gonna open that door and catch whoever was doing it. And he was right, because by the time they knocked again 3 times, he swings open that door to catch whoever it was, and nobody was there. Everyone was shocked that there was nobody at the door because they just heard the knock like seconds ago, so somebody should have been there. The uncle looks at them and he's like, I promise you there's nobody. He even walks out, goes to the street to look if maybe somebody ran, and he sees no one out there. Her dad ends up going outside too, and he says that there's nobody out there. He didn't even see anybody in the streets either. So they came up with a plan for the following night. They all thought somebody was playing a prank, so they wanted to catch whoever the person was. Even though they weren't allowed to go in the street, there was children allowed to be out late at night, and maybe it could be them. So 20 minutes before 1 a.m., the uncle decides to go outside. Right next to the door there is a big bush, and he was gonna hide there so that he could see who was knocking on the door. Now her dad was gonna be inside right next to the door so that they both could at least have a chance at catching who this person was. They both agreed that once they heard the knock, the uncle that was inside was gonna open the door immediately, and the uncle on the outside was gonna jump out at whoever it was. So 1 a.m. comes, and there's definitely knocks at the front door. So the dad that was inside opens the door, sees the uncle standing there that was outside hiding, and they were like, what? Who was it? Neither of them saw anyone at the front door knocking. The uncle that had been hiding outside actually thought that her dad was playing a prank on him. He was like, well, you knocked so that I can come out. It's you. But everybody that was inside attested to the fact that they never saw the man knock on the door. However, somebody definitely knocked on the door. The uncle that was hiding outside promised that he never knocked, and the dad that was inside also said he didn't knock. She was trying to understand everything, and she was like, what if it was like sounds from another house and we just thought it sounded like a knock on the front door? She was like, what if there was an animal? What if, the temperature changes and creates these weird sounds? Because in her mind, she's like, this is not paranormal. Like, it's something else. It's something that can be explained, but we just can't figure it out yet. So they're in like their last few days of staying there with their grandparents, and she says that she's in the living room with her grandmother. They're organizing some stuff that she didn't want anymore, she was gonna throw out, but time got the better of them, and they had no idea that it was already 1 in the morning. They were so busy gossiping and organizing that when the 3 knocks came, they both just stayed in shock. She says that her grandmother looked at her and said, like, let's go to the next room, do not talk, like, let's be very quiet. So as she's about to follow her grandmother, something stopped her dead in her tracks. She saw when her grandmother was walking to like this second living room area that they had where her dad and uncle were in, but she stayed very still because she heard a voice voice coming from the front door. She hears,
"Please, please open the door. Please help me, please."
When she turns back to where her grandmother had turned, she notices that her grandmother had came back for her, and she thinks that the grandmother also heard the voice because they both looked at each other very much scared. And the voice came again.
"Please, please open the door. Please help me."
She explains that her grandmother was frozen this time, so she just grabbed her grandmother by the hand and pulled her towards that second living room to where her dad and uncle were. So she walks in there with grandmother in hand, tells her dad and uncle what they just heard. They both jolt up, go to the front door, they go outside, and there is nobody out there. When they came back in, they started asking them like, what did you hear, what happened? And both her and her grandmother were telling them the same thing. The grandmother also told them that she did not recognize that voice, which is weird because everybody knows everyone in that small town. The following day, the grandmother actually went to her neighbor's house to see if maybe they were having these same experiences. However, they said that they weren't. She went to the neighbor after her neighbor's house, and they said that they were also hearing knockings in their front door at 1 in the morning. However, they explained to her that they were not opening that door. They never even checked. They were not about to open the door at that time for anybody. They also tell the grandmother, look, if it's a ghost, if it's a human, you do not open that door for anybody at that time. Just ignore it. She says that the last night they were going to spend with their grandparents, nobody wanted to be in the living room anymore. Everybody was in bed before 1 in the morning. So she says that she wasn't asleep yet. Nobody was, but they were in their bedrooms, and that's when her mom asked if she can go to the living room and grab something that she needed. Because it was only 12 and not 1, she was like, okay, yeah, let me go get what you needed, and she was very confident that nothing scary was gonna happen. So as she walks into the living room, she starts to hear like people talking outside of the front door, but she thought maybe it was just people in the street walking by. You know, it wasn't 1 o'clock just yet, but those like murmurs, the talking just changed into somebody crying hysterically outside of that front door. She stayed in shock to the point where she could no longer move. Like she wanted to run away from that living room and she couldn't. She kept hearing the cries get like worse and worse, and by the time she knew it, she had screamed so loud, and the first person that got to the living room was her mom. As soon as her mom grabs her, she just starts crying uncontrollably. When she finally calmed down a little bit, she told her mom that she started to hear crying outside the front door, but then the crying started to be right next to her in that living room. However, she would look around and there was no one in the living room with her. She did end up going to bed and going to sleep. She explains that she was so drained and that she didn't even want to wait until 1 a.m. to see what would happen next. The following morning, she said that they were all having breakfast and she was listening to all the adults talk about, you know, the knockings on the door. She said that she overheard when her uncle and the grandmother said that there were knockings and voices coming from the front door at 1 in the morning, but that nobody wanted to come out and see what or who that was. She said that that day they returned back to their hometown and she just wanted to forget about that experience at her grandparents' home. However, she said that recently she had talked to her grandmother over the phone, and her grandmother tells her that they're still hearing knocks and like voices outside the door even today. Her grandmother told her that they already have a priest coming to bless the homes in that neighborhood in hopes that the knockings and the voices and the cries go away. She explains that she doesn't know if maybe these are the souls of the people who had just passed away in front of her grandmother's home or what it could be, but that she really hopes they go away by the time she has to go visit her grandparents' house again. I don't even know why they would open that door the first time. My mom, my aunts who live next to my mom are always like, if you didn't invite somebody, if you're not expecting visit, do not open the door. Well, in our case, do not open the window. So in my mom's house, we always hear knocks on the windows at night, and my aunts live right next door to my mom. They also hear knockings on the windows. So all of them have told like my cousins, obviously, and my mom tells us, if you're not expecting anybody, do not open that window. And if you've been following me for a really long time, you know that my little brother has captured that video of somebody knocking on his window and unexpectedly seeing that like little thing in the window, and it almost looks like a hand knocking on, I don't know, but like, yeah, when I used to stay there, because I lived in Austin and I would come visit, I would take sleeping pills because no one's waking me up. Now that I live here, thankfully I don't have to spend the night there. I do miss it though. I do miss staying the night, and because me and my brother used to stay up all night watching scary movies and like hearing weird sounds and investigating. Anyway, what do you guys think? Obviously, do not open the door if you're not expecting anybody, but thankfully now we have Ring cameras, so no, because now I'm like, if somebody rings my door and then there's no one there,
They decided to scare kids with a megaphone inside an abandoned city in Chicago. So the second the teens jumped in, they followed them into an old police station where everything had been left behind, but they stayed locked in on their mission because last time they scared someone with a death whistle, their reaction was hilarious. So they kept walking behind them and saw original wanted posters and actual jail cells. And the kids were about to enter a big dark hall that looked like the perfect place for a scare. And things got a little unsettling when they noticed a random guy sleeping in one of the halls connected to the big one, and a few rooms looked like abandoned animal testing labs. So just as the group of kids stopped to explore the area, these guys recording knew this was the moment to pull it off. But for a moment, they lost sight of them. Unfortunately, the group wasn't too smart, as they started randomly breaking glass on the floor for no reason. So the guys found them quickly again, and explained that this is exactly why they do these pranks. Because younger explorers like this don't respect abandoned places, and instead they destroy or steal stuff for no reason. But then they finally were in the right spot to do it, and it worked out well. Watch what happened.
Chicago Police Department, get the f*** out. Authorities are on their way.
I just talked to a tree. Yes, I talked to a tree. I saw it on TikTok, so I went to my backyard and I talked to a tree and it responded to me. But I need you guys to see this. Okay, there is nothing on the side of me. There's nothing on the side of me, nothing above me. Okay, tree, if you can hear me, touch my shoulder. Okay, did you guys see that?
Want more creepy videos like this? Like this and give me a follow.
Liam, come here. Liam, right now. What is that? Okay, I'm calling your mom. Just stay right here.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
It's not taking my nose.
Get a tissue.
I wasn't taking my nose.
Don't yell like
I
that.
was putting myself on a nose, but I
Look at
wasn't
me.
picking.
First of all, don't raise your voice like that. It's inappropriate. And see, now the ghost is very upset. Don't do that.
See, and you think I'm crazy. The first time I'm here by myself, there's a picture on the floor, and it just...
Yo, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
Okay, go. Who is it?
It's so weird.
Is it you?
Is it me? It's not me.
It's motion sensor. There's no one over there. Okay, do it one more time.
Do it one more time, please.
It's back. It keeps peeking in here on me. Oh my goodness gracious, what the hell? Ain't nobody in the other room. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Oh, my pistol's in the other room.